Hey there, folks. Tom Baddinger here, joined by Kevin Adonis Meyer. We've got your pregame show coming up for the Cloud9 AFK match. This is week 7 of the summer split, but before we get into any of the action, why don't we take a recap of how it all started right here. Bringing Home the Hammer, episode 2, covering the spring final land.
Gods and goddesses, humble in victory, gracious in defeat.
The SPL Spring Split was the first of 3 for 2015, and as April came to an open, the first phase of the Pro League came to a close. As the Pro League wrapped up, 4 teams found themselves at the top: Team Solo Mid, AFK Gaming, Trig Esports, and Fnatic. These 4 teams would pay a visit to hi-rez Studios in Atlanta, Georgia, to whittle that number down even further and eventually crown a victor at the Spring Final LAN. Before all the action, though, there'd be a reprieve, as hi-rez, the players, and the community came together for a bit of fun and charity to support the American Cancer Society.
Yeah, the Spring Fling was an event that we all got together as a community, the pro players and the hi-rez employees, just having a good time, trying to raise money for a good cause. The highlight of the Spring Fling was probably me and Dan being able to, actually it was a hi-rez versus pros, with D and Brandon getting bashed and they were just lurking his lane the whole time. He would die, come back to life, and they're waiting for him at the Phoenix, even though the first tower is still up, and they just kill him. I think everyone got a big kick out of that, from the hi-rez employees all the way to the viewers that we had. It was really funny. Yeah, for the Spring Fling, we were aiming for $15,000 for the American Cancer Society. We didn't know if that was achievable or not, but we thought that was a good goal. We actually exceeded that. We went to $18,000 and more, due to the whole community coming together. We had Gaseous who were doing thousands of dollars. Thanks to him. Thanks for everyone for joining us, because we all had fun. It just was a good time for 2 days for everyone just to lay back, donate, for whatever you want to see someone suffer with a hot pepper, as well as doing it for a good cause. It's just a really good thing. We love doing these things. We actually plan on doing another one in the near future, so look forward to that one too.
With the charity in the rearview mirror, the tone would quickly change from fun to focus. Teams were locked in as the weekend approached, ready for the final LAN. Tensions ran high as teams placed their pride and everything else on the line. The winner of this LAN would earn not only a cash prize and the respect of their peers, but also a ticket to Brazil to play against the best teams from the Brazilian Pro League. It would be called the Smite Masters. After some intense play, we would find an all-North American finals to be on Sunday's card. Team Solo Mid was the fan favorite in this contest, and they would head into the finals after facing off against Europe's Fnatic. On the other side of the bracket, AFK made quick work of their opponent Trig Esports, besting them in just 3 games, compared to the 5 that TSM needed to win. Despite AFK being the underdog in the finals, Team Solo Mid would only be able to take a single game off of the new leaders of the pack.
We're going to Brazil!
No longer a perpetual third-place team, AFK finally had a victory under their belts to call their own.
We're feeling fantastic right now. We've been to several lands before, but we've never placed in the top 2, and we got first place here, and we get to go to Brazil at the same time, and it's amazing.
The Spring Final LAN was a perfect end cap for a great start to 2015. A proverbial passing of the torch took place, and now AFK are the team on top of it all. The Summer Split will host 8 teams per region instead of the Spring's 6. This should provide even tighter competition, and the summer will be the stage for it all. So as you saw right there, AFK were the ones to take the last LAN here, but in order to get there, they had one last hurdle to jump over, and that was the last week of the Spring Split, which was Cloud9 versus AFK.
Yeah, the last time we saw this matchup was in the same scenario, but a little bit different things happening. Last time it was for the last final LAN seeding. This time, they're both already qualified. Cloud9 sitting at the top of the pack. Then we have AFK coming in second there. This is just kind of a grudge match for Cloud9 after losing last time and missing out on LAN.
That's really what it is here. They got beat by AFK, and talking to some of the Cloud9 players, I don't think that was something they expected to happen.
And I think AFK kind of surprised themselves too.
Yeah.
I talked to one of the players. I'm not going to name him by name, but he was like, I didn't expect us to win. Like, I honestly didn't. But, I mean, he was so ecstatic that it happened. They came to LAN, and then they surprised themselves once again, I think, by winning the LAN.
And now I think it's a very different mentality on both sides of the coin. I don't think AFK would be surprised to take a win this time around, proving themselves not just in the last week of the last split, but taking the LAN to follow up. I think this time going around, I think AFK is going to think that they want to win, and they can.
I think they're fully expecting themselves to win. We have some interesting matchups here. You see the players, they're already getting ready for this land. And this is nothing but for seeding, which is going to be important heading into the spring finals, which will be happening in a couple more weeks before the fall split. And the winner here is going to have first seed. They get a bye in the first round.
That's
critical.
That's the key right there, Kevin. As we said, both teams are going to be headed to the LAN, so it's really not up for that. It's just up to the bye. Both teams are going to be going, but who gets to skip the first round is really what's at stake here, and that's going to be incredible. But also, there's just a lot of bragging rights, man. You said grudge match. Both of these teams really want to win. Cloud9 want to prove that they deserve to be here for the actual LAN, not just our celebratory closing of the season LAN right here. And AFK want to show that it wasn't a fluke, that they can actually redo what they claimed last split.
Okay, look at Allied. And I'm going to keep bringing it up. Look at Allied and Barracuda right now. Allied, it's kind of construed for the longest time that Allied plays very well from behind. And while both of these players have a 7.5 KDA, Allied actually has 1 GPM lower. You see that? 523. Barracuda has a 524 GPM. So expect Allied to be coming in here looking to play from behind.
That 1 GPM difference, huge misplay coming out from the Hunters right there. But as far as talent is concerned, I think both of these players really bring solid expected mechanics. When there's no wild cards here. Barracuda going to be solid in lane, sometimes passive, very, very, very passive, whereas Allied is just going to start to turn it on when it comes to team fights.
I think both are going to, like you said, really fit that same role. They're going to be passive in lane and then probably come in for the team fights. I think we're going to see a little bit of passive lane here, although Incon does like to get pretty aggressive.
Yes, he does.
You know, his playstyle has really grown, I think, or changed to fit the new AFK team style of play. Before it was Incon was stealing all Allied's kills, and now he's really more of a true guardian, a true support like we've always harped that Jeff Hinla was, and that he is setting up team fights for Weekend and Cyclone to be and then Allied finally coming into team fights to be the big carries.
With that said, the God choice is definitely going to provide these two Guardians. Look on the side of Cloud9, Jeff Hinla, to really play the traditional safety picks. Look for the Gebs, look for the Sylvanuses, look for all the gods that can really control and peel for the teammates defensively, reactive Guardians. Whereas on the side of AFK, expect to see Incon, as we said, he's a little more team-minded. But don't be surprised to see the Sun Wukongs, the Odins, the Ares, the guys who deal damage and go aggressive in order to support the team in a more hands-on approach.
Yeah, contrary to popular belief, even though in-game it said that Ares has low damage, Ares does not have low damage.
Ares is rather high damage, and we're going to take a look at the solo laners here, moving away from the Guardians, and see how these get to max up against each other. It's going to be Omega versus the player on your screen right now, Cyclone Spin.
And Cyclone Spin, his growth from Season 1 to Season 2 has been phenomenal. He was on Fat Chunks, one of the bottom-seeded teams from Season 1, and he was picked up by AFK after they made some role swaps and some roster swaps, and he has exploded onto the scene. Now many consider him to be, if not the best solo, the best player.
After that LAN, I mean, everybody's eyes were on this player, from the fans at home who knew him, some who didn't, and the players at LAN. We talked to some of the guys after that, and they said, Fat Chunks, maybe 1, 2, or 3 things about them, but every single player that I talked to at that LAN and beyond had something to say about watch out for Cyclone Spin. And here we are in the future. He has won multiple MVPs in our summer split, multiple MVPs in our spring split, and has just been a spectacular player.
And he's going to be matching up against Omega, who's also on your screen. And, funny enough, yesterday we had a lot of fun games for the charity event, and we had some 1v1 tournament going on, and Omega actually bested Cyclone Spin, and it was a very close match. I think like Cabrakan versus Kronos or something, but it was a very close match. Omega came out on top. Who knows if we'll see that in the lane as well.
Yeah, I mean, Omega's definitely been a character known for. So if you want to boil these two players down to a single bullet point, Omega is known for getting in your headitude.
I think that's really the key, is Omega does whatever he can to get in his enemy's head. And I even talked with Jeff about this, and he said, I'm like, why does Omega do this? Is that his goal, is just to get in other players' head? And he's like, yeah, he does it. As long as it's not hurting him and it's free to do, there's no reason to not try to do stuff to annoy the other player.
Exactly, and that's why you'll see laughs and you'll see some sort of taunts come out. But on the other side of the coin, you have Cyclone Spin.
How are you going to get in his head?
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Cyclone Spin is a closed player. He does what he wants. Sometimes his team isn't even privy to the things that are going inside of Cyclone Spin's head. So the doors to that are definitely locked for that solo laner. So it might be a little harder for Omega to go ahead and step up and knock into that brain. But in the mid lane, we also have a nice matchup of Kiki So Cheeky. Taking a look right there at the AFK mid laner. He'll be going up against Cloud9's very own MLC Stealth.
And he is very cheeky. I mean, look at that face. Look at that. He's always smiling.
Ishmael Torres.
And Kiki, he has definitely grown into a more, I would say, supportive role for his team, where you see a lot of mids playing these hard carry gods or a hard carry style. Kiki gets focused a lot. I almost want to say so much that I'm pretty sure Weekend baits Kiki. He's like, all right, Kiki, you just push up a little bit. Your Thor's going to get, but I got you, don't worry. Oh, yeah. And Kiki plays these supportive gods. He plays the Nuwas, the Isises to great effect. And I think Isis is going to be the key in picks and bans.
Yeah, one of the keys to Kiki is that we've seen players in the mid lane go power boots or CDR boots going even further in that direction. Kiki goes pure support. We even saw Athena on him once or twice.
Yes.
So
that was at the LAN, actually.
Yeah, so really wants to play that supportive role. Whereas on the other side, we see MLC Stealth always smiling. He's going to be in the center lane for Cloud9, and he has a much different approach to the game than Kiki.
Yeah, he's almost always aggressive. We've actually seen him last season, his deaths were kind of low. This season, he has very high deaths, but he is always in the thick of the battle. And Annister really supports that playstyle. He's always there. Stealth knows he has that safety net of Annister always lurking around the corner. It's almost the same as Weekend, where it's kind of baiting himself, but Annister's always there to support Stealth when he goes in.
Exactly. Stealth was one of the early adopters of Doom Orb when it first got changed to lower the price, and because he was able to lean on Annister for that support, we saw a lot of Doom Orb come out. Recently, it's sort of been phasing out, but Annister still there to protect this mid lane. The jungle matchup for this Cloud9 versus AFK will be Annister versus Weekend. Weekend on your screen right now playing for AFK.
And I talked about how really Annister's always there for Stealth. On the other end, we see Weekend always there for Cyclone Spin. Cyclone Spin, he's the big player in team fights. Not that he's the only one doing work, but what Weekend does is target out that soul lane. He always gets Cyclone ahead, or at the very least, make sure he doesn't fall behind, so Cyclone can rotate to these team fights. And he's normally out-rotating the other solo laner, sometimes even when the other solo laner has teleport to towers and wards.
Cyclone always seems to be a step ahead, and as you said, a large part of that is the support for Weekend, but don't want to diminish what Cyclone does here. Weekend gives the tools to Cyclone, and Cyclone is able to utilize them to great effect. So Weekend on your screen right now, 3.6 KDA, definitely does what he wants to do. A lot of times from Weekend, you see counter meta gods.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about that. You can see on the screen about 12,000 damage. That actually might be lower than most junglers, but he plays those supportive junglers. We see him play the Odins, where very few other players play that. He plays the setup for Cyclone and Allied, and to support Kiki in the mid.
Yeah, we see a lot of other Thanatos and things like that to sort of stop the popular picks. And on the other side, well, this is where the popular picks come from, guys. It's going to be Annister, the jungler on the side of Cloud9, who there has been some questions about his reliability on LAN, but I think the last couple of times he's sort of shed that.
No. I was fully on that train, and he's had some problems at LAN before where he didn't really perform up to his own standards that he set online. I think Worlds completely erased that notion. Annister showed up for Worlds. Cloud9 ended up winning Worlds under the Cognitive Prime organization, and now though, he's going to be. He hasn't actually been to LAN since then, though.
Lannister, I think it's gone. I think he's now Mandenster.
Wait, say that again?
Mandenster.
Mandenster?
He's the Mandenster.
Okay, Big Den.
He's doing it large. We'll take a look at the Guardian role as well. Support Incon, previously known as Incontinentia, on your screen right now for AFK. And on the other side of things, we'll take a look at Cloud9, which will be Jeff Hinla.
Thank God he changed his name.
Incontinentia.
When I used to do camera work, how do you spell that name?
Incontinentia.
I don't even know if that's right. I'm just going to say it was. It's probably wrong. Spectators like, no, you spelled it wrong. Sorry.
They didn't say that at all.
I don't care.
Incon, player from the country, very strong guy, both in and outside of the game. We talked a little bit about this earlier. The aggressive one, always playing these Odins, these Ares, these Sun Wukongs, wants to be the guy forcing the enemy down.
Yeah, the team captain for AFK has done a lot with this team to grow from Snipe to Complexity to Melior, Mori, whatever the Hogwarts name was, and now they're under the AFK gaming name. He has pioneered and guided this team to from a third to fourth
Right.
place team to the second and first place team.
And he'll be going up against Jeff Hinla.
That beard.
One of the earliest really talked about supports, I'd say, in Smite. A lot of times we focused on junglers, and I think hunters really ruled the world of early Smite, pre-SPL. Let me take a look at Jeff fixing himself just a little bit. But Jeff was one of the premier Guardians to start things off.
He was known for a while, ever since Denial. And when Denial was a top place team, they're like, Jeff is one of the best, if not the best solo laner. Then they started dipping off, and it was really a question of, is Jeff really that good? And he makes the transition to this Cloud9 roster, and ever since then, he's been known as one of the top supports in the game.
Yeah, just a little too strong. The Swindler Handler, known for stealing objectives just as much as it is for looking out
Incon,
for
though,
his
as well.
teammates. Exactly. See, that's the big thing. You're going to look for Incon to be hyper-aggressive. Look for Jeff on the other side of things, throwing out those Geb shields, peeling whenever possible, trying to provide support for everyone on his team. I'm going to try and stay straight-faced right here, as my co-caster does whatever the hell he does. That said, we're going to get out of here and bring you guys to the real desk. Why don't we talk to Bart, Brandon, and special guest.
Welcome, everybody, to the Real Desk. My name is Bart, his name is Yannick, and that's Brandon all the way to my left, your right, and we will be bringing you the action here in a two-game set live from Atlanta. It's AFK versus Cloud9 g2a, I'm sorry, not AFK. They're actually at their keyboards, I can see
that. That would
here.
be a very interesting conflict of interest.
It would be.
Winner
versus
here
AFK.
will get first place at LAN. Both of them are relegated to LAN itself, but the first seed at LAN will receive a bye in round one, which is a very big deal.
Yeah, it's 5-game sets, that you're gonna have to win. So not having to go through one of those grueling tasks can be a little bit, easier in your pursuit of perfection.
With that, the players are getting ready here. We'll be jumping into picks and bans in just a second. We're ready for picks. Oh wow, we're going right into
Well,
it.
hold on. We got to introduce Yannick here. Yannick, tell
we're
people
not
who
ready.
you are and what you do.
I'm Yannick. I am the support player for TSM.
Hey.
And, yeah, that's about it.
There's no way his heart was in that intro.
Oh, damn it, you beat me to it. Okay, let's go to the P's and B's. Heartless Yannick
Come
is here.
on. P's and B's.
It's Cloud9 versus AFK. Cloud9 in the bottom side with the blue team. AFK top side. They are the red team, and they will be in the second picking and second banning position. First ban pending from Cloud9, guys. You may notice this is going to be a little bit different than our normal broadcast in terms of the pace of picks and bans. It's going to be live based on as the players pick them. And so it's a little bit different than what you normally see. So expect a little bit more of a drawn-out picking and banning phase, emulating really more exactly how it does go down. So we'll have a little bit more time for analysis as Bologna is the first ban coming out.
I think this is a pretty safe ban. We know that Weekend loves it. We know that Cyclone can play it. For me, Kuang, I think, is a really big, important pick here. The character's win ratio is through the roof right now, but they're going to go for Athena. Janus getting taken away early sticks to the AFK mindset. I did have a chance to watch some of their scrims yesterday. They didn't allow Janus a lot, and Thor was another big thing. They don't want Andy having those early game rotations.
The Athena ban's a little bit interesting to me. Not insofar as that Athena's hard, but what do you got on this, Yannick?
I'm really surprised that they let Sylvanus through. For the most part, Sylvanus is almost instantly banned every game. So I expect a first pick Sylvanus here from Cloud9, and I'd be pretty surprised. It looks like they're going to take away Isis.
Yeah, and this is what we've seen top teams do against AFK in the last few weeks, has been draft this Isis in a very high position or ban it out against Kiki and force him into...
You'll also know they ban nothing but girls.
Right, of course.
It's 100% girl
and yeah,
rate
as you called it out, Kuang. A high priority pick in this matchup. AFK is going to lock that in with the Sylvanus. And do you think that Isis is valuable enough to give up the Sylvanus, especially in addition to whatever other pick, Yannick?
I think especially since it's on land, taking away comfort picks is really, really important. And taking away gods that just the team is comfortable playing with overall is really important. And I know Stealth's been playing quite a bit of Isis in scrims recently, so I guess Isis does make sense, and maybe even over Sylvanus in this case, especially since you're playing against AFK.
Well, you got to think there's a Geb coming now out of Cloud9 here at this point in the draft. Don't want to get themselves shoehorned too much into their support pick. They've been Guardians more or less have been the higher value picks, more or less, I'd say, so far. The back half of this split. But Geb getting locked in here. Probably a Hunter to follow as well. Yeah, it'll be the Xbalanque. So Cloud9 gonna posture up for late game.
Bart with 100% right there.
Hey.
Not bad. For me, I'm looking for now more early game. When I talk to Cloud9.
Oh, there you go. You got it.
No, actually, not from AFK. I was looking at Cloud9. You know, they said, quote, we're going to do some cheesy stuff.
Well,
so far, not pretty cheesy.
Not
This is the
very- no,
least cheesy
standard.
comp I've ever
Standard.
seen.
Geb
Yeah.
Xbalanque, probably the most late game duo you can have.
Right.
Aside from Rama, maybe. But
Hades banned out by AFK, respecting MLC's stealth propensity to play that. And Omega has been showing off a little bit of Fenrir here and there as well, but it's going to be Cloud9 banning this one out against AFK, not wanting to deal with Cyclone Spins Fenrir.
Well, it could
Cyclone
be
does have
Cyclone.
last pick.
It could be Kiki. Kiki plays his character in mid, and they banned Isis. This is all
That's
Kiki.
true, okay,
It's just
so-
girls and Femir.
Girls and the Big Bad Wolf. So the second to last pick, they will have the final kind of counter pick, will AFK here, but with their fourth pick looking likely into their, well, they have their jungle most likely out of Kuang. We've seen this go to Cyclone Spin as well for the
Most
Soul
likely
Lane.
the mid laner coming out
Yeah,
here, so it will be
bit of
Nuwa.
mid. And what do you think about the Nuwa pick into
think it's a
this
girl.
matchup? Yeah, it's Bay.
It's a girl. I mean,
It's just a god Kiki's comfortable with. Like, I don't think we would ever pick Nuwa in this situation. I don't think any other team would pick Nuwa in this situation, but it's really just a comfort pick for Kiki that's key on LAN. And
I think there's some decent synergy here with the Kuang as well on Nuwa. It's a little bit of a stretch, but the idea that she can kind of chip them down the last bit to get that execute proc for him is,
or
is
even
nice.
start the fight off with late game. Hey, everyone just took 400 damage. Kuang just killed someone for free.
Not to mention, there's even though, as you mentioned, Nuwa not very popular at the moment, her ultimate is very good against Kuang. Guaranteed reveal on him.
Osiris going to be locked in here for Omega. As we see Serqet likely to take the jungle for Anansur. I mean, unless you know some crazy solo Serqet stuff that's happening here, Yannick.
no, it should be just Osiris solo. Osiris a very strong level 1 god as well as Isis.
Are we expecting Heavy Hammer?
Serqet's okay. I don't think so. I think Heavy Hammer after the nerf just isn't good enough to be picked up
At level 1.
at level 1 anymore.
Do you think Kuang is going to solo lane against the Osiris here, or is this going to be something a little more tanky drafted for AFK?
I'm not too sure. It's really just whatever Cyclone wants to pick, but I'm not too sure how the matchup goes Kuang versus Osiris. Like, there's all these little things about solo lane that I wouldn't know. So
Whoa, Odin.
Well, that's likely the jungler for weekend.
It's possible. I haven't really seen too much of this god come out from Cyclone Spin. Doesn't really fit his normal, I want to just immediately kill someone.
And it doesn't have an amazing matchup versus Osiris. It's okay. The attack speed reduction and the ultimate's especially valuable, but all things told, I don't know that it's any better or worse in Kuang outside the fact that Odin's safer.
Yeah, that's true. With that, though, it does get locked in. Isis, Geb, Xbalanque, and Osiris, unless he uses his ultimate, are all locked in.
A little bit of an interesting draft from Cloud9 here for me is that they opened up with this very aggressive team fight-oriented lineup with the Isis and Geb, and then drafted really into single target and kind of pick-off oriented with the Serqet. Later on, Xbalanque gas pedaling a single target, Osiris kind of splitting up the team fight. They're looking more to create space in the fights than they are necessarily to team fight it looks like, with the Isis Geb zoning, versus AFK, who's got a lineup that's a little bit more concentrated to that point, right? They're even better than Cloud9's kind of pseudo pick-off lineup.
For me, I like the single target. And aside from Xbalanque, no one's really going to be able to try to do the single target to Kuang and live through that boxing match. Not only will he have that execute to match out the fight, but his damage is insanely high, and he has a heal plus reinitiate directly after with his ultimate. So right now, AFK, I can't say they have the stronger lineup, considering the Odin could be a real big make or break. But the safer lineup, probably, you can't ever hate the Geb shield.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you got?
I really like Cloud9's team comp. One of the things they excel at is controlling vision, and especially around the Gold Fury and having Sentry Wards there, and then just really grouping up and getting a pick off and forcing teams to check the Gold Fury or run into the jungle and get picked. So look for them to be grouped as 3 or 4 in the left side of the jungle.
Well, there's going to be player icons unlocking here, guys. Looks like the account have everything unlocked on them, and so there's going to be a little bit of message spamming, it looks like, at least for the moment. But we'll ignore that for now and talk a little bit more about composition as Invade doesn't seem tremendously likely with the recall coming out of Omega. So let's talk about double Transcendence start on the Hunters.
I mean, this has been the safe pick for a while. It's always been kind of confusing to me that we picked up the Transcendence most recently, and we're buying so many pots into it instead of just trying to finish it as early as possible, considering people were going to lane with limited sustain before and doing well. But they want to stick around for as long as possible. For me, Yannick, I'm pretty sure Transcendence, their charge Morning Stars, 1,200.
Yep.
And that's 400 worth. So he should have
so
about
Barracuda's sitting on
100
three.
He
gold.
has 100 gold left.
Yeah, so he has 100 gold left. He is looking to finish that Transcendence early. So
yeah.
It's a 2,800 gold net worth versus 2,900 gold for Barracuda. So timer should belong to Allied.
Ever so slightly, yeah, indeed. But, in the dual lane, it often just kind of, it doesn't work out necessarily that way. It's more about lane control and your ability to
Bear's
back.
going to have to translate those extra 2 potions into a bigger sustained advantage over Allied for that to pay off. So I don't think I really agree with the 6 potion start, because I think 2 potions each is fine, especially before your first back. But
I agree.
And it's not like Xbalanque is going to have an excellent laning phase against Medusa anyway. Right, that extra potions, he's going to eat the harass. There's not much you can do about it.
Speaking of harassment, Omega choosing to tank this and go to lane. So he'll be about 150 health down. Andy immediately rotating to mid lane. No invades on either side, which was a little strange to me considering the Osiris. Thought he was going to go for it, but obviously nothing given. We are going to see Weekend playing this Odin. Very, very aggressive start here from AFK, and that wave is cleared.
For those of you that haven't seen AFK play recently or seen Cyclone Spin play, this Kuang, while traditionally being a very in-hand heavy based god, is going to be played as a traditional mage. It's going to be more ability-based using that Wild Storm #3 ability to cone to deal the majority of his damage, as you see demonstrated there. So it's going to be a little bit different than what you're used to seeing, but around 15-20 minutes, he'll be back to the old traditional Kuang using those dragons to tear people up.
And he will do that in spades. Last night watching scrims between Eager and AFK, every time a team got Kuang, they won.
Yeah, well, there,
very, very strong.
You know, Kuang and Osiris have kind of traded back and forth as the flavor of the month preferred jungle pick in North America, at least of what we've seen. I mean, Europe as well, like a Zindern and the boys when he was still playing and going back towards the Night's Watch. Right. Very popular for them as well. You know, like, can you comment on that? Like, why we saw Osiris fall in and out of the meta so quickly?
I really think it's just flavor picks, pretty much. Like,
yeah, straight up.
To be honest, we haven't tried out Osiris too much until like about a week ago, and the synergy is really strong, but obviously Osiris when you fall behind,
so
really
it's
bad.
the worst.
Osiris when you're ahead, especially with a team focused around the knockups, is really good.
Mega taking a lot of damage here, sitting at about half. Has a lot of potions though, and he does have that very powerful multi-pot health pot start. Not looking for mana sustain, looking for that 15 health a second gain by popping both potions at once, which is very effective against a character looking to chase you down.
Yeah, Osiris has a very high mana pool for a warrior.
One thing that's really important to note, which I want to check back on, is when the first mid-camp spawn, which one of these soul laners get the first rotate over, because both of them will look to rotate over the first mid-camp spawn, and whichever one has the advantage going into there.
Well, Cyclone really can't rotate at this point. His mana pool is about half. He has no more mana potions. Blue has worn off. Comparatively to Omega sitting at full mana, still has a multi-pot as well. It looks like Omega's going to get the rotation.
It's very, and it's pretty untraditional, in fact, for Cyclone Spin. Usually he's winning his lane, and this player, maybe more than any other player, is known for his kind of, we'll call them raw rotations out of the soul lane, versus Omega, who's really known more for waiting out his teleport to wards and then making that big high-impact play. Cyclone's been known for getting out there and getting involved early. Not going to be the case here, and will that translate into a lack of momentum for him in the mid-game?
I guess hard to say. With me, we're looking at a lot of different characters. Normally, matchups are pretty basic. When you look at Hunters, pretty basic. But Medusa looking early game, Xbalanque looking late game. Cyclone Spin looking early game, Osiris, or rather, Cyclone Spin looking late game to Osiris looking to kind of the mid game. Andy and Weekend, complete opposites again. We're looking at Andy in the late game, and Weekend definitely in the early game. So for me, it seems like AFK is not really playing to their benefit, and also Andy is just super greedy, and I love everything he does.
AFK, they are much more snowball dependent here with this lineup. It's a little bit easier on the execution standpoint. They have tremendous counter initiation with the knockup from Sylvanus into the ring from Weekend, and they can kind of chip around at the edges with Allied and Cyclone Spin. Kiki obviously putting in some burst there. However, this lineup does fall off pretty dramatically late game. And allied with that parity with Xbalanque is going to be down, at least 10-20 power from the passive, assuming Barracuda gets a few kills. So, yeah, I think you're onto something there. The AFK really needs to get first blood and a lot of momentum to win this game.
Something you really want to look for towards the late game, though, is Xbalanque into Odin. If Barra doesn't watch his positioning, in which he's going to have to a lot, towards the end of the game, he's going to get caged by the Odin, and it's not going to have a good time.
Right, massive attack speed slow coming out when you do get ringed in there. And also wouldn't be surprising or really any kind of out-of-meta pick to see a Midgardian male come out on to said Odin. But MLC Stealth, he finds himself in a bit of an awkward situation here. Ring could have been used there by Weekend, but not going to be Spirit Ball coming out to zone.
I really like the fact that he didn't go for that. The Bird Bomb was down. The follow-up wasn't strong. Allied doesn't really have a ton of damage right now. He would really need to confirm the ultimate, and he couldn't have done that in this situation. Circular Protection would have kept him alive long enough to let his team counter-initiate, and you really never want to put yourself in a position to fight Serqet if you don't have to.
Why do you think there's beads 1 on Odin jungle?
Ionic?
I guess he's just trying not to get picked off by Serqet. Isis is really, really powerful, and if you get caught by that combo, you're pretty much just dead, so.
Long duration CC, the silence as well to follow it up.
Yeah, just
but
like
it does preclude him getting a blink, and one of the reasons that you got to think this Odin was picked is to pressure Isis mid lane without a natural escape out of the ring. But we haven't seen it really come to fruition yet, just a lot of very aggressive lane clear coming out from the sometimes duo of Kiki and Weekend.
Yeah, it'll be much easier for the range carries to avoid the Odin cage in the late game without a blink, and you won't have to. Barra and Stealth won't have to worry about the Odin as much in the late game with him having to pick up the beats.
So some slight weakness showing in the AFK duo lane here, as the duo of Medusa and Sylvanus somehow not earning overall as much gold, despite the fact that you would still count the mid camps as a win in favor of Jeff Hinla, Incon, despite the Jeff rotated. Barracuda does have a slight advantage in gold overall to the tune of about 200 in a lane that realistically should have been pushed.
Well, as you should recall, Barracuda and Allied have identical stats except for 1 GPM.
It's very important.
To which Barracuda is the victor, but we do have a fight breaking out. The ring is used. Jeff Hinla locked in, but he's a fairly tanky still at this point in the game. Rollout started in the backside. Incon trying to zone on Anderson. MLC Stealth. He's going to be backpedaling with the Ice Ultimate. Nuaz up. Incon's down. Barracuda credited for that kill, and it's the best possible kill they could have gotten there. They get the support, they get pressure into the dual lane, and they get 5 bonus power in the Xbalanque.
There's no possible first blood that could be better for Cloud9. It's not only on the carry, but like you said, he's getting 5 bonus power.
Yeah.
And he's already winning his lane. Against a hunter that's considered an early game hunter. This is the best possible situation for Barracuda to be in right now.
And he's still keeping up in stacks.
Kept up with the Sylvanus, especially since Incon got to essentially solo the second mid camps, and he took the first mid camps along with Allied at the start of the game.
Right.
So Jeff keeping up in farm is really impressive here.
Well, hard to argue against it. 700 gold now in favor of Barracuda. That's a light blade. That's just straight up 15% attack speed that he's going to have first. Or he could finish his boots almost immediately after.
Yeah, can we take a look at gold in hand, please? We'll see Barracuda sitting at just 20, 30 gold away from being able to finish off his boots. So, yeah, he'll have the advantage of a pretty nicely timed back. Although Medusa's only a couple hundred gold behind, as you mentioned. And it is really all gold in hand. So all of that unreliable gold going to be spent.
So 3-man split in the mid lane. You're going to see Andy take to the left side as we're going to see, strangely, just the mid laner go for the back camps. Not sure where Andy's looking to go here. Is he trying for the gank here, Ionic? What would you expect?
Well, the red team, AFK, does have a sentry ward over at the enemy team's blue, so Andy won't be able to get any ganks off in the dual lane for now, so I'm not really sure. That's kind of curious, because Andy, for the most part, is one of the biggest supporters of sharing gold and sharing everything with your mid laner, and that's what he usually does with stealth.
He chose not to go to the back camp, which was very strange to me. AFK ward coming out. Is that from AFK? Yes, it is. Okay.
AFK has all the vision control around the gold field right now. They have a sentry ward at Bear's purple, and they have a sentry ward at the choke point over at top left mid camps. So
well, let's take a look at wards placed here. Incon versus Jeff is what we're looking at. Incon 2 ahead, probably both of which are the sentry wards. The issue here is if they don't utilize that vision as much as possible, it's going to be hard for Incon to catch back up.
It's translated out right into the itemization. It's Hog 2 onto Sylvanus versus Hog 3 for Geb for Jeff Hinla.
Right.
Which you see in that wards. But what I do want to point out is the 3 sentries on the side of AFK Gaming in their pockets.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Cloud9 is really controlling the jungle.
Oh, here we go. They've actually found Jeff Hinla here. He gets a 2-man Cataclysm Weekend. He's going to beads away the knockup, but he can't do any more damage. He's forced to go to the backside of the ring. Sylvanus counter-initiates with his ultimate as well. Wrath of Terror unable to set up any more kills. 2 big teamfight ultimates expended there from AFK Gaming. Cloud9 holding strong in their jungle. Another bird bomb to come, but nothing cooking. Is this an opportunity to look for a Gold Fury as well? Serqet ultimate use. Silence coming out. Allied immediately turns 2 to Stowe. Jeff Hinla unable to reinitiate. Kiki does a lot of damage with the Shining Metal. Is it enough to kill Jeff? No, it's not, as he's going to roll away to freedom. No kills coming out in a first blood for Cloud9. Still the only kill on the board.
See, that's what I'm saying. How do you dodge that on Xbox? Pros can't dodge it with a mouse. It's crazy.
Even with all this vision control, Cloud9 is still being the aggressors. As you can see, they were the ones in AFK's jungle.
Oh, stealth! That
Aegis sits away, but he's going to get rooted by Nua. They're not going to have enough. He goes for the silence into the mysterious fog, hoping not to have any more initiation come out on top of his head. But my goodness.
That Aegis was
Cyclone Spin.
Sick.
Let's talk Cyclone Spin going Doomer.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's going to copy the build from Adapting. I would love to see it because that build was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, but Adapting's a jungler.
Right, but I mean, so is Cyclone Spin. If 15 minutes going to hit, he's never going to touch that lane again.
That's right, yeah. On the 30-minute mark, he won't lane anymore.
10 minutes in, Allied and Barracuda. This is the story for me. The disparity between these two is gigantic. 600 gold. Barra's already got the boots finished. Allied going into a light blade early on, which is probably the most curious thing that we see on the board, considering Medusa's scaling is very good on her ult, on her 2, on her 1. and he's choosing to go into attack speed, which already gets augmented by his one.
It's just more value out of that 700 gold than boots too.
It seems to be just like a back timing thing. Allied backed and had the gold for light blade and didn't want to go into just boots 1. So.
Right, and now he has just the boots 1 now, and he's going to be stuck with it anyway. It's gonna be hard for him to climb that hill back up. They had that chance there, that glimmer of hope for AFK as he finds the huge ultimate, stuns 2, but they just didn't have the kill potential. When Weekend ulted early on, there just wasn't enough follow-up. Jeff, very curiously, did not take a lot of damage in that ult.
And the good news is that Ally does have that kind of instant startup or near instant startup, 55-foot dash. Xbalanque, even with the movement speed advantage, will still have to use Rising Jaguar, which isn't great for him. Knock up onto Incontinentia. Serqet ultimate expended as well. No healing for now, but they're going to get a decent amount of burst out of this Will Cloud9 for healing onto Jeff Hinla with that Isis ultimate placed on the ground and some damage being racked up. But it looks like that's that for now. A very ponderously paced game here as both teams are looking to bend but not break.
That top left mid camp spot is going to be the most highly contested ward spot. Look for Cloud9 to get a sentry ward there and sit around the corner and wait for AFK to come sentry ward either there or the Gold Fury.
Well, they just got one down, but we saw Incon able to hit it a few times with his crazy ranged non-body blocked auto attacks, right?
Yeah.
And pick it up. Kiki starting this up here, Allied doing some damage as well. No one able to really gain claim to this so far. Jeff Hinla does have Blink and will be able to reinitiate both supports with Hand of the Gods 3, and they're both in tow! Blink versus Blink, 1 ult used. Jeff still has his for the counter initiation. Stealth getting that stone shield. They're trying to keep him alive.
He blinked to the backline to get it in and find it, but he Cataclysm now coming out, but it's more to try to bail. He's got to get eaten up by the dragon. Cyclone's been looking for a second. He got the bonus HP and he can land onto Stealth, but it looks like he wants to harass out Barracuda. No, dropping right back down onto Omega, but missing with a Wild Storm. A little bit of tunnel vision for his lane partner there. Weekend, he's going to go down to a nicely placed Spirit Ball from MLC Stealth, and that should be enough to prevent AFK from being able to take this Gold Fury. Omega, he finds himself in an awkward position now, trying to find all of the team. Omega, no, not that tanky. He's a dot enough. It's not. Isis ultimate used for zoning. MLC Stealth wants to make the play, but he goes down to Cyclo Spin, misjudging the damage there. Barracuda going to try to make the plays on the backside. He gets credit for the double 10 bonus power, but they give it up to Cyclo Spin as well, and that is one player and God combination you don't want getting ahead.
With that, Jeff respawns, is able to roll back to the fight there. They're chasing Andy away. Gold Fury still available. In the long run, Cloud9 with a pretty even exchange here, but Barracuda getting a double kill, or rather single kill, and getting that stack on is very important.
Looked as though Omega really miscommunicated with his team on whether he was going to go back in or not, but I'm really glad that
it's Omega. He's probably like, I'm going to walk forward, and they're going to be scared, and they're like, what are you doing, dude? And they just killed him for it.
I'm really glad that they stayed on that fight, though, because the longer that fight went, AFK was going to get healed up with Sylvanus, and then they wouldn't be able to contest it all. So staying on that fight was really smart there, and they ended up getting an even trade, whereas if they just backed off.
So now we're looking at Cyclone Spin, level 16. A few people surprised that he's leading the pack here in farm. Incon in a lot of trouble. Out of mana.
Force out Wrath of Terror there. This should open up the Gold Fury.
They could go for it here. This should force Cyclone into a position to where he has to fight.
Yeah.
And we're looking at
AFK to fight here without Wrath of Terror.
Have you noticed that Omega's been walking instead of teleporting, and he doesn't have a second slot yet? That could be a shell or a Weakening Curse. I think they're saving the Weakening Curse slot.
Well, there's also just not a lot that he can do if he does come in at this point. With only a Heart Ward, he's not really a viable damage dealer, and he's not really that dangerous outside of his ability to CC.
Dude, even with that Heart Ward, he just got slammed by those minions.
Yeah, he sure did. Look at that Nuwa. With just the power boots, it's enough.
Kiki is the only player playing this god in competitive right now, and I think it's not a very strong pick. She's very easily picked off.
Jeremy plays it.
When's the last time Jeremy played Nuwa?
He played it this split.
Did he?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, fair enough. But still, I mean, it's a god that's very easily picked off. Her damage is very hard to set up, but Kiki's affinity with the god is just so powerful. He understands her so amazingly and allows him to make such fantastic plays. I mean, in the last fight, he shouldn't have been alive for as long as he was.
Yeah, Nuwa's this kind of god that when she came out, her ability to leave combat for her ultimate and then land in a little bit of a different location and stall and make time was really highly valued, and then Rom came out. And it was like, oh yeah, he does that better.
Yeah, he does that and does a lot more damage while doing it.
Exactly.
Straight up kill a
maybe
mage.
a little bit less value there as there's a direct comparison. And we'll see some of those sideways shots, patented sideways shots on Isis there, as they take a back camp, splitting it once again with Andenser, as Yannick was telling you about, and as you should have seen as you watch the minimap here. Cloud9, one of the best at making sure that they're very, very efficient with their splits.
Yeah, they get a lot of gold out of the map always.
So with that, let's take a look at the graphs here, see how Cloud9's doing, and let's couple that again with the wards place, because we know Incon is spending a lot of money on wards right now. But no, actually, Jeff Hinla, 7 wards. Wow.
6 for Weekend.
AFK still has vision control over those 2 key spots in the jungle, which is interesting.
Yeah, for some reason, Cloud9 has been what seemingly too afraid to move up and take them as a group. Not sure why. Like right there, I mean, they would have an opportunity. Stealth and Jeff both having the ward to take that hotspot that has been so valued by AFK all game.
Well, you look where Cloud9 has warded with their Sentry. They've elected to put it just off of that backside purple buff to try to get some additional vision there and see the rotation coming in versus just specifically the mid lane. Jeff Hinla, he's caught into the ring, and this time they should have enough damage. No Cataclysm used as well. There's a nice ultimate available. It's going to heal up Jeff. Nua is definitely not enough. Barracuda, he goes to the back line, but now he takes a lot of damage as the Medusa ultimates comes ripping through. Weekend out of this fight. The Serqet poison barely not enough to kill him. No more kills going to be coming out on the board just yet, and once again, it's just Omega fighting the team.
That was strange there. It looked like Weekend really wanted to just pick off Jeff immediately, but it looked as though his team was too scared to spend the resources in order to getting the kill, so they ended up just caging Jeff and then not getting anything out of it, really.
Well, the circle of protection, perhaps both of you are just pretending that it was Kiki's because we're so used to watching that. He was getting healed. Like, once that ring went down, he was going to go boom and heal him for 40% of his health.
Yeah, I don't know. They maybe still could have bursted him.
Allied in some trouble here. Yeah, lacerates right away. Gold Fury for the first time getting very low as Omega takes down the Sentry Ward. Really not under contest. Going to switch over. Incon might have a chance to take this. They stole it.
Yeah, they took it away. They forced the reset now.
And Barracuda,
super
he's
low. Dead. Get shield likely not enough. No, it is enough. Weekend unable to secure the kill. Barracuda very, very low. He will go down to Cyclone Spins. But, I mean, it's another kill for Barracuda. What is it? It's 4th now. 20 bonus power for the Xbalanque. No, I'm sorry. It's 15. Aussie plus moving into execution are nearly done. Transcendence, a lot of power behind him as well. He's quite a bit ahead of Allied, who doesn't have the better late game, and we're moving towards the later stages of the mid game at this point. It's looking pretty good for Cloud9 in the later stages, and it's only about a 700 gold lead for AFK. I think they needed about a 7,000 gold lead at this point to really feel comfortable.
And they don't have anywhere near that. I mean, it's 10th. What they have to do here, aside from this Gold Fury, is they got to start using that aggression to their advantage. They got to get Cyclone out of this lane.
Or they got to hope Cyclone carries this game like some kind of crazy supermensch, because if you look at him, he's 4-0 and the rest of the team is combined 0-5.
What are you going to do? Where does the build go? He's got full beads. I love that pickup, right? But Omega, again, still doesn't have a second active. This is very unusual for him. Even early creeping curses were common in Season 1, and without teleport, without creeping, without shell, he's really, the benefit of the team is he can absorb damage, and Heart Ward has given them some mana. Yay.
Well, it's something that Ionic said earlier, kind of pointing out the amount of control that Cloud9 theoretically would have with their wards, but also their ultimates. The Isis ultimate, that Geb ultimate, very, very good at zoning, and maybe those rotations from Omega aren't going to be as necessary in terms of teleports or wards, given their control through abilities and what should be vision. So maybe that's the thought process here, as he still only is sitting on that Hog 1, not even a Hog 2.
At this point, it just looks as though Omega just hasn't needed to go into teleport.
Bear's in some trouble here. A lot of damage coming through. Kiki even getting the root off afterwards. Geb's shield, though, still too strong.
Look for the Odin.
Able
Odin's
to get away.
Come around.
Yeah, Odin's on the backside. He has a decent angle here. I don't think he's going to be able to fight Hinla. He's forced to stop out momentarily there. And remember, no blink. Bird Bomb coming in, but I think they've avoided it. Indeed, they have. Weakened that decision early on for the beads. Still beads 1. And he's building into Magi's as well. It's this Odin pick. He's just not getting very much done, unfortunately. He's had a couple of good rings, but the follow-up hasn't been there. And AFK, they're starting to slip.
AFK could start sieging this left tower, though. Cloud9's a little poked, and they do have the Sylvanus heals in order to keep sieging.
And they have a big wave going in there as well. Nuon minions hitting the tower. Osiris still over in the right side lane. Kuang sieging down the mid lane here. Barracuda, he's fighting underneath his own tower, and those bolas doing a lot of damage. He's going to beads away from... No, I'm sorry, that was the Rising Jaguar preventing the CC. Here comes the teleport. Omega itemizes into it right away at the minute that they are pressured, and now trying to move forward, but stunned out immediately. And
Kiki's just like, welcome.
Yeah, 300 gold to waste there, unfortunately, for Omega.
300 gold, probably not the story. It's the 4-minute cooldown that he just incurred, and he has about a 6-minute walk over to the solo lane.
Yeah. It's going to be, he's going to be a little bit unhappy with what they get out of that, but they'll save their mid lane at least, will Cloud9, and they'll save their left side lane as well. But all 3 of those tier 1s are getting very, very critical, and there's a big influx of gold coming to AFK here in the short term. If they're able to find it and capitalize on it and get some items, they got to be looking for this Fire Giant or this next Gold Fury pretty soon here, because time's running out.
Well, we're 20 minutes in. Fire Giant's available, 1 Gold Fury. Very European style right here, as neither team really willing to fully commit to fights. Almost every single fight has wound up being a wash except for 1.
The key thing you want to be looking for in these next fights is how much damage Cyclone is going to be able to do, and whether or not Jeff can keep him under control, and also whether or not Barra is getting distracted by Weaken, so that he's in the cage and he's auto-attacking the Odin instead of auto-attacking the more important carries on AFK.
Can we actually hover on Odin real quick? Now, I want to see if he has opted into starting to level this ultimate. Finding out what level the ring is a big deal because, remember, it does reduce attack speed based on what level it is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, can we take a look at Weekend? There he is. It's a rank 3.
Rank 3, okay. So
he is going into it.
Is that 40%?
I'm not sure. I'm not a big Odin player.
Yeah, it's 40%.
Yeah.
Up to 60.
Either am I.
And yeah, I mean, that Gungear's Might, his level 3 ability is
Jeez, man.
really very much a one-point wonder style of ability. All of the slow is there at rank 1.
Keep in mind, there's no physical defense aside from the aura coming out from the Heart Ward for Omega. So that Bird Bomb just basically hit him for as much damage as it's gonna all game. Taking about 50% of his health total with that Wildstorm, forcing Omega down. He's healed up a little bit. They're gonna rush this down. They're gonna get it.
Yeah, they're gonna. I don't know that Omega can really do much. The ladies are starting to rotate over Serqet and Isis, but they're not gonna be there fast enough. Yeah, there's so much attack speed, that hit chain out of Cyclone Spin, even without itemization.
Did you see that?
So much damage with the Doom Orb.
Kiki's so smart, using his ultimate not for damage, but as vision. Remember, when she goes up into the sky, she grants her entire team vision of all 5 members on the map. This gave them enough information to recognize that they can get that tower for free. And we go back to the graphs to see AFK has really fashioned themselves a lead here.
Gold Fury is back on the board, just respawning now at the 22-minute mark. XP 2,000 in favor of AFK. They still hold the gold advantage. About 3,000 gold now. Taking a look at player damage overall there. It's Nuha leading all players.
That doesn't count.
Is that fake damage, Brandon?
That's absolutely fake damage. Nuha's like, hey, 300 to everybody, and we're not going to fight.
A hell lot of it is onto Omega as well.
No, that's true. I mean,
he's taken a few thousand in these last few skirmishes.
A lot of the
Nuha
damage
alone.
was just like her throwing creeps down and people not respecting them enough. Because that, I mean, Shining Metal, if it hits you plus creep explosion, I mean, it's like, it's outwash levels damage. It's crazy.
Yeah, similar abilities there. A little bit more skill shot based for the Isis. I'm sorry, for the Nuha, a little bit more timing based for the outwash. But all things told, yeah, very, very high potency kind of 2 levels of activation abilities.
We got a Silver Talisman coming out here. Tell us a little bit about this. Is this going to be, it can't be a Heart Word. They already have
It could be a Pestilence for the
Jeff is a
Sylvanus,
big fan of Silver Talisman too. So we could just see Jeff looking to get that magic protection online and then just skip it and going into Magi's Blessing or something else like that.
So not looking for the Pestilence to try to stop some of the healing from Incon. There he is, 3! Picked off, huge Bird Bomb stealth, getting a shield, throwing down the Aegis, locked in, and we're going to see the Circle of Protection holding it down. They invested a lot there, and a great defense from Cloud9.
Yeah, big time counter initiation there, and a great use of the Aegis from MLC Stealth to avoid a lot of that damage as the burst came out. And of course, his Isis ultimate then expended to help counter the ring. Unable to really fight into that as AFK, I think. So now it's Jeff Hinla holding on to his ultimate plus his Blink 1. And yeah, Silver Talisman, going back to that quickly.
Probably will go into Pestilence now that I think about it, since he is against Sylvanus.
Yeah, he has the Sylvanus. He has a lot of life still coming out of the Kuang as well. Not that that's going to be as important at this juncture, but it's also the most cost-efficient total effective health against magic power you can buy. Very high HP value, very high magic protection value for not a lot of money. So, in fact, you think about maybe when this item was introduced, Silver Talismans were very, very popular as a casual Silver Talisman pickup. But Jeff looking for his moment to initiate here as a Gold Fury is being tickled by AFK. He's going to get rooted out immediately and now finds himself in an awkward position. RNG that's not in his favor this time. Ring coming out from Weekend, but Weekend already quite low. No circle protection this time to try to bail out Jeff Hinla. He's rolling around. In the backside, it's Omega and Barracuda trying to wreck, but Allied's going to avoid the tether stun out of Omega, and Omega is going to aggro the Gold Fury, taking a good bit of damage from it. Bird Bomb not able to find its target. Jeff Hinla very, very low and poked out pretty well is Cloud9 here, but AFK not so healthy either. But big difference is they have a Sylvanus on their team, and Cloud9 realizes the healing is coming back, and they need to go in quick. Ice Ultimate available and down on the ground, as you heard Yannick say there. Weekend looking for his moment to go in, but the Burn Bomb being chipped away already. Backside force out is Cyclone Spin. Gold Fury gonna go down, but AFK takes it! Incon is in there! He finds it! Cyclone Spin gets a kill! The Dragon is up! He can't re-engage. No, he's forced to go back to the lane. Barracuda wants to try to get something out of this, but I think Allied and Weekend are gonna be okay. And yes, that's that.
Well, AFK somehow takes that fight, and realistically, a lot of that came down to the fact that Allied got that huge bait onto Omega, stopping the tether stun by using the ultimate, doing a lot of damage with it, and baiting out so much damage to the backline, allowing Incon to find a very NFL-level walk through the crowd to be able to pick off that Gold Fury and pick off the gold. But I was looking at Weekend, and the big trouble there is Jeff should have died so early in that fight. The Bird Bomb was guaranteed.
It's like the 4th time we've said that, though.
But Kiki actually hit a root and stopped him from moving forward, and it was like an inch off that Weekend, as a result, missed the bird bomb that initiated.
Was the new, I thought that was Sylvanus return route. Oh, I thought it was RNG.
It might have been. I mean, like,
no, I think you're right. I think it
saw
was
green route.
I think it was Nuance 5th hit. Yeah, I think you're right.
At this point, AFK's lead's starting to be a little bit more relevant, though. 6K gold, still not huge, but it's definitely gonna play a part in these next few fights.
And a lot of it is on the person you don't want to see it on the most, and that's Cyclone Spin.
Yeah, he's definitely still standing out far ahead for his team. Is certainly in terms of KDA. In other good news, AFK's also really slowed down Barracuda. Barracuda got off to a very, very good start, rocketed right up to 3 kills. Now is behind Allied after that last engagement and didn't really build upon that early power. I mean, granted, that 15 is still nothing to kind of scoff at, but as crit starts to come online, things start getting a little easier, and you're seeing Allied's playmaking capabilities coupled with a large CC-oriented ultimate on a Hunter really helping turn these fights for AFK and made a lot of space, especially in that last one.
See, it's always been confusing to me that Allied has chosen this role. You know, knowing Allied for a long time, he is known as a very communicative player. Yeah. He was a support player for a very long time. He likes controlling the fight, calling things out. This god is like made for him. This god has been such a powerhouse in AFK's ability in Season 2 because he has been all about that ultimate. How many games? I think it's 2 games this split where Allied ended the game in 3 minutes by going, I'm going to ult 3 people because they're not paying attention. And I can call out the C fight the way that I want it. And that's, again, right there, that entire fight was chosen by Allied by saying, Omega's baited, this person's slow, this person's stunned, pick them off, take the Gold Fury, let's go.
Well, things are slowing down for the moment here. AFK, they're playing aggressively through Cloud9's jungle, but all those camps are taken. Respawn's going to be in the next 45, but that's mostly on the left side of the map.
I think Jeff Hinla has actually heard the casters talk about what we think he's going to build the Silver Talisman into, and though he's now never going to build another item.
Yeah, he's just going to wait forever. Magi's Blessing, 6 slot. I mean, Silver Talisman is, as I was pointing out earlier, I mean, it's a very cost-efficient rank 2 item.
It is.
One of the few kind of casual items you can pick up in this game. Maybe like a Hydra Star.
Hydra Star level 1 on Thanatos, very, very powerful. But Hydra's lament being a little bit more cost-efficient these days, mainly just for the CDR.
That's right, yeah. I mean, Silver Talisman's really the one you look at and say, it's a pretty good rank 2
item.
item.
Can we actually hover on the Silver Talisman so we can get everyone at home on board with us? There you go. 200 health, 45 magical protection. It's like, what, 1,200 gold?
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
It's cheap. It's around that area.
It's 1225. Yeah.
Very, very cost efficient. Omega takes a little bit of harass in magic form from Cyclone Spin. Still roaming as 5 as AFK, and I like the aggression from them, but they're not putting the screws to Cloud9 just yet. They've played aggressively through their jungle. They've stripped away some gold. 2 tier 2s still remaining, the mid and the left side. It's just a matter of when they're going to push, not if at this point. And, well, the time is definitely not on their side. It's still important enough for AFK. They have enjoyed a decent lead here now, just under 5,000 gold. But it's still a Xbalanque in the backside. CC Chain comes through and Omega. Execute not there in time from Cyclone Spin, but very, very low and poked out for now is the Osiris and forced back, but he does have teleport towers available.
We're going in 5v5 here. Heavenly Agility was just popped. Weekend trying to not use his jump as Omega actually backs. This is beautiful. Now he can use the teleport to come right back to the tier 2 and continue engaging. So much was used on him, and this is going to give him... Oh, but geez, did he just take a lot of damage? Wow.
Yeah, Barracuda actually missed that Isis heal now and is forced to in-hand to heal back up. Anderson are quite low on the backside. Weekend trying to re-engage, immediately beads away, but rooted out there. Jeff Hinla, Weekend will go down to MLC Stealth. Wow. Eventually the Spirit Bomb Cyclops, but now he's the one trying to move forward. And it's just been one by one AFK shuffling in and trying to do their little dance. Cloud9 having none of it, and no damage really dealt.
Barracuda's been able to just freely in-hand anyone he wants this fight, except for now.
Oh, he got snatched and he got bursted.
What did you just do? And Ionic... truly experiences his first use of Caster's Curse. How did that feel?
I feel pretty dumb now.
You killed him. You killed him.
You did that to him.
Yeah.
They're not going to be happy about that. AFK getting a big kill on the bear there will spell out a small win for them in the long run. Weekend's conversions on the Bird Bomb have been very, very low in the last 8 minutes.
Weekend's Odin hasn't gotten much done this game.
Which is weird. Usually he's the only Odin that got things done for like a year.
Like Hunbots was in the pool and unbanned.
Right.
But Odin.
And they had Kuang on the team already.
Yeah.
He had his jungler.
The Kuang pick really weakens the Osiris pick from Cloud9 because he can't really go into straight like Runeforged Hammer. I don't think he even has Runeforged Hammer. He can't go into like the typical Bruiser, Runeforged Hammer, Iqbal, Witchblade, those type of items since he has to itemize against 2 bursty magical characters instead of just 1.
All right, so this is going to be a free Gold Fury. Let's take a look at the Ancient Blade.
Hey, it's Bulwark.
Built. Hey, we were all wrong.
Yeah, we didn't even consider that it could be a Bulwark.
Not sure why he bought this.
Yeah, I just fallen in favor quite a bit when it
We
was
don't
first
need to
introduced to the
care.
game.
We have a Guardian analysis. Why did he buy Bulwark?
I guess he's just getting bursted a little too hard by the Nuon minions and the Kuang. But if it was me, I think I'd still go into Pestilence because Bulwark is a bit too expensive. It's like another 400 gold, which is gonna delay you from getting like the luxury Magi's Blessing or the Mid Guardian Mill.
Now Iana gets to experience his first Reddit thread about questioning a pros build.
But yeah, no, the Bulwark, I actually like it in this situation a little bit. I mean, now I'm not commenting on whether or not the total effective health difference is going to make all of the difference here, but in theory what this item does, preventing you from getting burst at least for that half-second period, considering how it's come out, yeah, I think a second actually, right?
It's not enough time.
How it's played out, right? There's been a lot of teeing off on him inside of the Odin ring, and a lot of times they're winning those fights with counter initiations after that gank does not succeed. I think it's an okay to itemize into that here, given how this game has gone so far.
Jeff just building into a ton of health. He's already got Sovereignty and Bulwark, and now he's going back into what should be Mid-Guardian mail.
Yeah, it should be Mid Guardian.
We got the Ancient Blade, by the way, from Omega. What do you guys think it's going to be? Now, all 3 items are viable. Reducing damage is good, but getting the Witchblade would stack against, or not stack against, the Frostbound Hammer. Vitalis is good. He doesn't have Sprint, wants to deal damage.
I think it's gonna be a Witchblade.
Witchblade over Wingblade?
Yep.
Well, speaking of Omega, in a little bit of trouble here. Almost got snatched back into that fight as well, but it's continuing on. Spear Bomb gonna hit Incon on the backside there, and I'm sure he had some words to say about that one.
Was that he was blinded. He had no idea what was coming. I love
Cloud9.
blinds. Let's think of my favorite CC.
The blind? The raw blind?
Well, Xbalanque blind.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's just like, you can't see the Spirit Ball coming. And Incon's just like, I think I'm okay. And then he just gets hit for 400 damage.
Yep. Words.
Life is good.
Hey, look, it's the Ancient Blade.
Hey. Nope, it's Curse Blade.
Oh, that is Curse Blade.
Jeff Himla taking a lot of damage there in the front line, just trying to get his ultimate up. Weaken able to jump over, deal some damage. Bulwark keeps him alive. Cyclone trying to chase it down, but he can't reach it. He's getting baited. Oh, he doesn't have his movement. Weaken comes in to save it. Might be able to hold this one down. Stealth again with the best
Aegis is so
I've ever
good.
seen.
Backside
Oh
there,
my God.
Incon in some trouble. Incon down to Barracuda. More bonus power for him. Spear Ball on the mark from Embassy Stealth. What a player. What a shot. He's so good at land. We haven't seen him make these kind of plays really so much online. Weekend
GG.
to drop as well. It's going to be a 5-man wipe. Weekend is down. DSI, let's take a listen into Cloud9 as we hear their comms as they go for Fire Giant.
I'm only here for the hug. I'm only here for hug. I'm not even fucking around with any of it. Yeah. Dude, I fucking outpaced him with Gabriel, dude. What the fuck ever.
But he used his beats too. I didn't.
Nice, yeah, I'm on my way. Okay, I'm going right.
Yeah, I got mid probably.
I can tank. Yeah, blue's up, by the way. Their shit's up. And if you want to clean that up, maybe, I don't know.
I have a lot of gold, so
Okay.
let's not fight. Only towers.
Alright.
I can't get mid. I'm just gonna go speed.
It might be up.
Speed's down.
I'm backing. Okay. Alright, I have full mid already.
Group left. I say.
Really good job, Sylv.
Yeah,
Self. That was all you. Perfect stun ball on Medusa.
Incon.
Yeah. I'm almost 17,
you guys
by
are
the
still
way.
calling different callouts every single fight,
Yeah.
so
I mean,
make it
all of
less-
us? Not really. I mean, sometimes you
Yeah.
can't all be on the same target.
Yeah. I was just helping with there. Yeah, that's really good.
I want that red.
Oh,
Okay.
Do we have a ward so Omega can push mid?
I have...
Actually, no. We
I
should
have
be
wards
5.
on me.
I think we should be 5.
that's a lot of storm with fire.
Yeah.
And we have late game ice assault, which pretty much full heals.
Yeah, true.
They're gonna give up everything and look to split push. I can just go right now.
I can tank. Yeah, it's fine.
Shove mid up. Be careful you don't get picked.
I won't get picked.
We have Sylvanus here.
They have
They're
3
here,
left.
they're
4
here.
left.
They have 4
4
here.
left.
I'm trying to give you...
I have a TP. Don't worry.
That's Sylvanus Paul.
I can
Nice
still
try.
push mid. I can still push mid.
Again, I do have ice assault, which helps.
Yeah.
Are we letting them split push?
Yeah, we're not gonna fight this. We're not gonna
Okay.
get that wave, dude.
Okay, they're all pushing down on this.
Just let me have somebody rotate. Like if they rotate, then we
They're
can
looking for
engage.
this?
We can engage.
I'm gonna look for to get some Magi's.
They have a sentry there. Yeah. Yeah.
I got a piss bad.
If we force somebody over here, allies here right now.
Okay.
Welcome back to the commentary desk, guys. As you heard there, Cloud9 very, very confident with their Fire Giant buff, but still respecting AFK's ability to defend this tier 2. A lot of Magi's Blessings out as well, but Cloud9 starting to split up the map a little bit here with Omega pushing down the mid lane. 4 members, but here comes initiation from Incon. It's gonna hit all 4, but one of them beads it out. It was Anister, the pretender beads there. Incon, return
Look
damage
for
coming out
Weekend.
about 50% HP. Weekend has great positioning to the backline. He rings in 3 and he rings
This is
out
good.
Barracuda. Do they have enough damage here to kill anybody? No one falling just yet. They're teeing off an MLC stealth. He will die in the backside, and now it's Barracuda out on the island. He goes down to Bird Bomb. The initiation is good from AFK. They lost track of Weekend. Omega likely to fall as well.
Oh my
With the
God,
dragon, there he
got
goes.
him.
Cyclone Spin with a double kill, and there it is. AFK has successfully counter-initiated onto Cloud9 and found some kills.
Well, Bar, I think it's only fair that we switch over to AFK now. Let's check in with the comms and see what the energy's like.
Can't fucking fight, huh?
I'm gonna be careful.
I'm
just gonna back up.
Go for heal. Healing.
I was stun ready.
Can we go mid tower fest?
Yeah, sure.
Get him ulti. I think
We don't even need MC to go for it.
Pretty sure get his ulti. I'm gonna push him up.
Just go for it.
I'm gonna push him.
Coming over.
I have beads still, just in case. Any buffs up?
I'm coming over. I'm almost here.
Serqet's doing back left.
Save your heal for me. Well, I'm here.
Sorry.
Back
Okay,
up.
that's a huge.
I have plays.
We need to back and
No, back.
Be ready for another fire. Speeds up. Can we get this?
Oh,
it's just.
Serqet,
You're good. You're good. Serqet's up here.
Just help me real quick.
I'm with you.
I like careful.
Yeah, I have all. Just be careful.
You don't have a lead. Get out. Get out. That's your taunt. You're good. Get out.
Just get out. We're good. I'm taking your
You didn't
speed.
beat that, did you?
Yeah, that's fine.
I totally did. It's okay.
You beat?
We're not gonna fight.
We have to
We're
wait.
not gonna fight.
We have to wait. You just need to be careful. I have Soul Reaver purple pot down. Full build.
Oh, I
You
should
help me with this?
Reinforce.
Well, that was it. AFK Gaming successfully finds a good team fight here in the 36th minute against Cloud9. They've built their lead to nearly 7,000 gold, which about
That's
10
what you
minutes
said.
ago we were saying it was what they needed, but is it enough at this point? I mean, if this game goes another 10 minutes, I mean, you got to like Barracuda and Xbalanque 6-slotted.
I'm looking at Omega here. He doesn't have any damage. I mean, he's got some damage on Frostbound. He's got damage on Boots. Everything else, like, he's an auto-attack based god. He is looking specifically to try to shut down the backline, but he doesn't have enough threatening presence with that build. He doesn't have any damage. Allied's just like, do whatever you want, man. I'm just gonna.
It's crazy how close this game is, considering that for AFK, it's basically the Cyclone Spin show. I mean, no one. I mean, there's 2 other kills outside of him.
I don't. Not to be rude, but I'm not really sure why you're surprised at that.
Well, I mean, normally you'll see someone else at least having a good game to kind of keep the pace here.
Allied
is
usually,
doing well. It's not translating to kills, but he does have that big gold advantage. A lot of that from the structures, and of course the team being up 7,000 gold.
Kiki's set up a lot of stuff with his root
That's
and
a-
his
yeah.
minions as well.
Yeah, and Kiki playing a very almost support-oriented, big cooldown reduction Pythagoras
And
piece.
Flashline aside, I mean, like, Incon's gotten some gnarly Gold Fury fights off.
Incon's put out some really nice CC change as well with the pull into root combination, or even a knock up there. He's gonna have his Magi's popped, and him and Jeff Hindler are gonna exchange some words there right outside the Fire Giant.
I was gonna say, like, Jeff lost his Magi's too, but it would have been a joke, and no one would have. Just forget it. Just forget it. Look, Fire Giant's up.
Fire Giant coming back onto the board, 38 minutes, 30 seconds into this one, 12-9 in favor of Cloud9. But they are down in gold and experience at this rate. But experience becoming less and less valuable as players are starting to hit level 20. Surging forward is AFK to counterward a bit there.
I'm looking at the timer here for the Magi's. 35 seconds left. Now, Ionic, with your Magi's down for that long, what are you looking to do?
Well, really, the most important thing for AFK is that they are able to get a good fight here, and
They're getting
it looks like they're getting pressured out right now.
Omega's going to find the Magi's from Weekend. Jeff Hindler's going to take yet another one of those shining metal combinations that he's grown so weary of, I'm sure. And yeah, AFK, they're going to rely on Sylvanus here a little bit here to bring him back up. Barracuda gets some nice pot shots out. Weekend's going to surge forward. He's going to find the ring. Knockup coming out. It's going to hit 3 as well. Do they have the damage for Barracuda? They don't. Stone Shield comes out as well as Rising Jaguar. Ice Ultimate expended, and it's going to get stacked up by that new ultimate. Burst Seal comes out. Allied gets just 1 with the ultimate. Beast out for the rest. Allied quite low now. Bird Bomb's there. Poison spreads. No, it does not spread. Just pops. Weekend quite low as well. Beads used for cooldown to try to leap
Triple
away.
stun!
Cyclo Spin on the backside. He finds the dragon. Gets the...
Triple stun. Are you kidding me?
But now looking to re-engage, and it will get the kill. Dunking down for
Triple.
the triple is Cyclone Spin. It's a quadra for Cyclone Spin. I don't think he's able to find Omega here. Maybe he is. The ball comes out. Does he find the slot?
He's trying
We're gonna go into Listen to
He's
AFK.
looking for it. He's got it. Pentakill for
What are we doing? Push middle?
Fire. Mid?
Fire.
Someone else get mid.
I'm gonna go push middle. You don't need my damage.
kills, dude.
Pushing middle.
Watch out, watch out.
Yeah, you're on the verge of dying. Yeah, I know. No, trust me.
Serqet up at 20.
Oh my fucking god, that was the weirdest. That fight was
Oh yeah, you can get mid. You can play.
Yeah, I'm trying.
He's gonna have to do anything. He's trying.
Almost there for you.
Let's go.
Serqet's up.
I'm working on Lotus Crowd.
I should be able to burst it.
5 seconds.
12 kills for 1 death now on the side of AFK Gaming. Cyclone spin, a pentakill here. 40 minutes into the game, couldn't have come at a better time to take Fire Giant as well. And this team that really needed the momentum to find a win over the late game oriented Cloud9, they have all the momentum, and still Ismail Torres looks classic.
Greetings, Traveler. I will not smile after pentakills.
Too cheeky for smiling.
I can't imagine how many Volcanias are in like every chat that's watching this Smite stream right now.
I'm like an Ismail Torres with spaces in between all caps. That's my favorite meme.
At this point in the game, everything about Cloud9's comms needs to be where is Cyclone, and they just can't afford to be using any more resources on the Odin ult and stuff like that. Bear's not really dying to the Odin ult anyway. Maybe.
Well, I mean, I think that's because they're using the resources.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of ways that they could deal with Cyclone. Like, we have to be holding Geb shield for whenever you see Cyclone, really, unless like one of your teammates are gonna die. He's 12-1-2.
He's also 6-slotted.
6-slotted with 21,000 net worth.
Some of the highest damaging items in the game. Doom Orb still stacked up completely. Bancroft Talon, Rod of Tahuti, penetration from the spear, damage from the boots, and that was a Soul Reaver to go, I don't feel like killing you, but here's 15% of your health. See you later.
Yeah, I mean, a 20,000 net worth carry in Smite is very, very scary. Mage carries especially because their items tend to trend a little bit more expensive for the higher level luxury items. They can really make use of that bonus net worth, where you see the hunters, especially in the current itemization, they're getting in and out for quite a bit less than that, maybe 17,000 gold for their big-time net worth builds.
With Rising Jaguar down, this is a great opportunity for AFK to push themselves into this fight. They got a deicide in the last fight, they got the Fire Giant right after, and they've got to make use of this sustainability. They can continue this siege for as long as they want. Well, I guess until the Fire Giant wears off.
No, Cyclone Spin needs to go farm. He's got to replace one of those 6 items, I guess.
Back camps.
That was really weird. He's fully 6-slotted, level 20, but he still needs more. Weakened, he's forced to jump out of his ring. Another decent counter initiation here, but this time Jeff Hinla only finds one with his Cataclysm, playing a little bit more cautiously as AFKs. They try to break the Phoenix, and they will get it there as well. The base is open, and Cyclone Spin, full health, full mana. He's completely pushed Anderson out of the fight with one Wild Storm.
Are we looking at the tier 2 here? Are we looking at the Titan? They're going to go for the right Phoenix. They have options, and it looks like they're going to choose the safest of the 3.
They'll take the gold and the map pressure, and Cyclone Spin will take yet another back camp.
You need the back camps, Bart. It's 43 minutes into the game. What are you going to do without taking 80
I suppose
gold?
he just wants to see his GPM number at the end of the game higher than it would be had he
Needs
not taken those
one
back camps.
extra.
That
It's
one
important.
extra. Okay, here we go. Cloud9, they're going to try to make the play to defend their tier 2 and find a pick and prevent the base from being pressured. Barracuda Rising Jaguars away from any incoming Odin abilities. And that seems to be it for at least the moment. AFK,
Andy.
they're looking to cut off Andy on the
Andy's
backside.
in trouble here.
Dragon's going to hit.
That was, all right, so Dragon Call was active. So he hit him with Wild Storm and 1 Dragon. He took 40% of his health.
Yeah.
This has to be an all-in fight from Cloud9 to defend
I know
the
that
Phoenix.
is on cooldown there. Yeah, so this is it. The final stand for Cloud9 as the ring comes out. Weekend finds 2. Barracuda snatched up by Incon. The ultimate use as well, but Geb Shield plus speeds were there preventing
Got
it.
him!
Cyclone Spin finds MLC Stealth in the backside of that fight and just has full reign. And as you heard Onyx say, Cloud9 has to find out where this player is.
If you're not able to kill any of them, the Sylvanus heal.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to heal forever.
Yeah.
Percentage Fire Giant buff heal, plus the Sylvanus heal, plus Cyclone's been nipping at your heals, finding 1 kill onto a high-potency mage. Incon is taking those Barracuda shots. He's slowed down to oblivion. They may be able to find the kill here. They will indeed. Allied's ultimate is expended. Here comes Weaken. Cyclone's been waiting for the initiation. He's going to turn on the Dragon and start putting out the burst. Anderson solo, unable to convert, though. Is Cyclone's win, and Andy gets a kill on a Weaken to the frontliners. Down now, AFK, unable to continue this assault.
It looked as though Incon blinked into the fight without really being able to have any follow-up from his teammates. It looked as though. And then he pretty much got chain slowed and chunked by Barra, and then Barra was able to continue auto-attacking for free.
Yeah, definitely would have preferred to see the more siege approach there, as the Lotus Crown is available for Sylvanus.
Did you see that lifesteal? Does he have 12%? Jeez, dude, he was at like 40%. 1 Dragon Call through that Gold Fury brought him up to like
Bancroft's
infinite.
talent.
All you need is that 12%.
Bancroft's talent, good.
Kiki right now is still
Pythax,
without
Pythax,
kills.
Pythax.
What's up?
Pythax.
Pythags?
Yeah, Kiki said Pythax for
No,
like,
I'm
the whole
talking
game.
about Cyclone.
I know, but he gets Lifesteal Aura.
Oh, I see. Right, so another 10% on top of that. Okay.
That's right. So yeah, that's why.
That makes sense. Diving into the backline, Andy trying to get a little bit cheeky there
Andy's
himself.
so cheeky.
Yeah, not going to find it though. Cyclone a little bit too quick on the draw, able to teleport away.
So if AFK goes on to lose this game, like, do you think they can win game 2? I mean, at this point, Cloud9 is very much the underdog 45 minutes into this one. They're still a light at the end of the tunnel for Xbalanque, but if AFK is unable to convert this, what does that do to your second game, Ionic?
Well, as we've seen, AFK isn't really a team to get on tilt too much. They've dropped games before and they've been able to come back into the set. So you're really just looking at I don't think AFK and Cloud9 are teams to really go on tilt from dropping a game in a set.
Even a 50-minute game that's 15-15.
That hurts.
I think maybe if you're Cyclone, you're a little sad that you couldn't carry the game out, but I think really you just reset and you just try and play the next game out.
I mean, everyone is 6-slotted at this point.
This kind of looks like a ranked game. You know, not in terms of gameplay, but like the slash lines, right? One player just completely carrying the team and yelling at the rest of his teammates in all caps.
And the other team is like kind of even
Yeah,
across
they're
the
doing
board.
pretty
Just
good.
like,
They're doing their thing. They're playing consistent, and then the other team is just completely dominant. But as we mentioned earlier, right, in earlier analysis pieces, right, the allied ultimates, the new wall roots, those Odin rings are really what's allowing for Cyclone Spin to move around the map and get those kills.
finding those Gold Fury steals, like they're really important
That's
parts
true.
of their
That's actually
trip.
why this game is still going on, is because of those Gold Fury steals, more or less.
Barracuda taking the blue buff here. Who is going to be picking this up? Why was this so important?
6-slot, level 20, bonus experience, baby.
And he just got chunked by one of Allied's auto attacks. Look for Incon to blink in here. This is a really important timing because their mid Phoenix is coming out, so AFK really wants to bait them over the Fire Giant.
Allied started up the Fire Giant down
Last
to
wave.
about 70% HP. Serqet walking out of the base now. Weak is moving in. No ring used just yet. Magi's popped. Omega's here with the tether. Stunned out is Incon. Incon, no blink available for the moment. Yeah, now he's dotted up as well. Not going to make him happy. AFK, let's take a listen into their comms as they try to defend this Fire Giant from Cloud9 and seal the game out.
Careful, they can go on me. Alright,
Just snare almost.
Oh, she's going mid. She's defending mid. She's defending
Go
mid.
for it. Can you get Gavin in combat?
I'm starting it.
If you can get him in combat.
Fine, yeah.
He's got Magi's up.
Jesus. These spirit balls are
Doing this?
crossed.
They're going. That's blink.
Are we committing?
Rooting Osiris.
Reset. I'm
Yeah,
going.
we're not.
Can we fight?
Can't see anything. Having agility. Now going back in. Xbalanque. Ultida. Got you in the back.
She's blocking beads.
Beat
Osiris
the
half. That's catch shield. I'm ulting. Yeah, Osiris is in execute.
I'm really low.
Careful, they're coming for you.
That's a
Behind
dash.
you, Jeff.
Yeah,
Behind you, Jeff.
super low. Gab roll down.
Do we get to him?
Blink up in one.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, no,
I just ulti.
Help me out.
Healing one. Healing
I have
now.
ult still. I
Watch
have
out,
ult still.
Osiris.
I'm out.
Rooted Omega. I rooted him.
I'm fine.
Serqet.
Nice shot.
I'm coming.
That's
Coming
huge.
around.
Use our heals. Use our heals.
snare.
Barra has no
Yeah.
beads. Barra has no beads. Barra has no
Use our
beads.
heals. I have ult. Use our heals.
3.
Allied group. Allied
Group
group.
now.
Let's go. Let's do
One.
this.
Heal.
Kill this ward and let's do this.
Am I doing this? Am I starting?
Yeah, start it. All their stuff's
Alright,
down,
they're
right?
doing
My
blue.
ult's-
They just started blue.
Okay.
I have a snare.
Barra has no beads.
They have no hog, right? Oh, no. Give us mid. Give us mid. Give
Are
us
we doing
mid.
it? Okay. Careful.
Push this.
Osiris is tier 3. Osiris is tier 3.
He doesn't have. He doesn't have ulti.
Got it.
He
Yes,
doesn't have
Nice.
yeah, good job.
Can we kill?
Careful,
Can we kill?
Sylvanus as well.
Isis 1 HP.
I have ult. If I
You
need
could get
somebody.
Oh,
Fuck.
That's his beat.
Careful,
I got
careful.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Shit, got poked up. Oh, use beads.
Careful,
Beads.
careful.
What was that?
Okay.
Got shield or beads? I'm really low. I'm really low.
Serqet 30.
We can
Heal
heal
up.
for low. We can
Group
heal
up.
for
We'll
low.
have to heal
We
up.
have fire and I can heal.
Yeah, that's true. Just keep.
Barra has
It's
no
three.
beads,
Remember
right?
this?
No, Barra has beads up now.
Yeah, they'll be
Yeah,
up.
they're gonna be
Plays.
I have beads in 25.
Plays that shit.
Oh, yes, poke the tower. And
We get rid of it. It's only half health. Pulling.
nice.
Ah,
Nice
good
shot.
job.
There you
Okay.
go.
Going right? Or what?
Circuit's up in
Healing
20.
3. Can we push right though, Serqet up? That'd be like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really need it.
Heavenly is up.
Do you blink?
Yeah.
Oh, you have
10
heavenly?
seconds.
Yeah, we should just heavenly in on this, I think.
Okay.
Bear ball.
Shit,
Oh,
shit.
God.
That's
Do we
okay.
heal?
We're good,
Do we
we're
heal or
good,
no?
we're good.
No, down. I just used it.
Circuit up in 5.
We're good.
Can we
Sket's
We're
almost
gonna
up.
look to
I
fight.
can't get in there. Okay, I'm trying to get.
Pulling.
Watch out for poking. Watch out for poke.
Rooting.
Careful.
They're gonna look to
Circuit's
initiate.
up
They're
in
gonna fight.
I have Heavenly. Careful.
Actually, block
I
it.
dashed away.
I grouped us.
Let's have
Got
it.
him out. Let's
Nice.
put him up.
Okay, nice.
He's back out. Or
They're
no?
gonna look. No, we have to
Back
engage.
up.
We have
Yeah,
to
we
engage.
use a lot.
Oh
Wait,
shit.
reach,
Alright,
reach,
okay.
reach.
Oh,
Allied.
Blinking. Holding. Got 3. Rooting 2. Got him both in the back.
And that's
Circuit's
okay.
back.
Nice. I got the back.
He's dead. He's dead.
Gap. Never mind.
Healing
I'm
one.
on super low. I'm on Geb. I'm on Geb. I'm on Geb. I'm on Osiris. Geb.
Yeah, he has 1 health. He has 1 health.
He's one health. He's dead.
Keep
Healing
pushing.
fine,
Push.
healing fine.
Tutorial came on. My tutorial came on. Oh fuck shit.
Healing
Push
one.
out.
Healing one.
Phoenix.
And with that, you can see AFK Gaming poised to take game number 1 away from Cloud9, moving into the base here, and it looks like it's all over but the fat lady. Yannick, what went wrong here?
It looked as though with AFK's small lead, Cloud9 really needed to... well, that's the thing with the Season 2 Gold Fury, right? You can't reset it. You can't hard reset it. So if Incon gets to pull the Gold Fury, it's pretty much just free if he gets his ult off.
2 steals.
Yeah.
2 steals.
And that kept them in the game. And then really AFK just pressured their lead well and had pretty much just first rotate and control of the game from there.
With that game, AFK actually takes the lead in the amount of pentakills per team, with now 2 at LAN.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy. Both Allied and Cyclone Spin have each earned one for their teams at LAN, which is very impressive.
The last 2 lands, in fact, they've
Yes.
gotten pentas.
Yes. That's actually beyond crazy.
And it's just how this team consistently seems to win. It's always like you look at the team, you see how they play, you think that it can't be consistent, how kind of wild and frenetic they play the game, how much they rely on one single player to really carry, and it just works.
That's what they do. They build around it. They're like, this person's getting fed. Everyone just protect him. They always, whether the comp shows it or not, they're always playing 4 protect 1.
It just works so well. Like having it's just for Cyclone Spin, it's really just the perfect lineup. You have Weekend. You have Kiki, who are both sort of more support type mid laners as opposed to Andy and Stealth. So,
and you have Allied, who literally played support for the first 2 years of his career.
Yep.
Right. And I mean, maybe one of the major strengths of this team, as you mentioned, is always a 4 protect 1, but they seem to be able to pivot from Cyclone Spin to Allied really well.
Yes.
And the other kind of carry from the outside lane is able to complement the first pretty well. So when you see Cyclone Spin doing really well, Allied looks for those ults to initiate and counter-initiate to save the carry more often. And on the other side, you'll see Cyclone Spin look to create space for the Hunter as they gas pedal through the backlines in the fights. So it's a really, really well put together squad, I think, and well rehearsed, well practiced.
Well, with that, Cloud9 still has a chance to answer back. Remember, this is a 2-game split. We're going to be heading over to the analyst desk with F. and Adonis. Stick around.
Fantastic game we had there in game 1, going the way of AFK. Very interesting stuff, Kevin. It was back and forth for a majority of that time.
Yeah, and I really think the caster desk highlighted what it came down to. It was creating that space for Cyclone Spin to run through these team fights. I'd say Weekend's Odin doing a fantastic job of that.
Very, very big part of it was the Odin, but also was the first blood. Let's go ahead and take a look at the player that wound up starting things off for us, and it's going to be Xbalanque.
Yeah, Barracuda was able to find this first blood on Incontinentia, and Cloud9 looked very strong early. They got the first couple kills, but AFK was answering repeatedly after every fight.
You actually saw that a number of times in these fights. The Xbalanque Hunter was targeted by the team. You saw repeatedly AFK just looking at Barracuda over and over again, making sure he was out of the fight because, well, really were swinging at the end of the game with that Xbalanque.
Yeah, and no surprise here, though. I mean, player of the game is going to Cyclone Spin. There's absolutely no way it is going to anyone else. He was able to come out, perform, and I mean, he got a pinnacle. So thank God we can finally stop talking about Allied's pinnacle. I mean, it's been at least a month, right?
14-1-3, and it's really interesting watching this happen time and time again. We saw our first LAN pentakill come out from Game Hunter a long time ago in the launch tournament. And the next one was a long time that we waited for it. And now it seems to be that the players are just getting better and better overall. And these pentakills, while still rare and special, are happening more and more often.
Yeah, but I mean, this is kind of AFK's game.
Oh, yeah.
4 protect 1.
Of course.
It is get Cyclone fed early, which he was able to do. Even in the fights that Cloud9 was taking, Cyclone Spin was always able to trade out, get a kill or two, and eventually he ended 14-3, or excuse me, 14-1-3.
Yeah.
You can see right here the pinnacle finally coming out for him.
Right there it is. And I mean, there's a number of ways to achieve success on these Smite teams. We see, for example, the best example I think of team capability is Titan. There really is no standout star on that team. It's all just 5 equally skilled players really doing it. And as far as equally skilled on the roster of AFK, I think all of these guys are very, very strong, but they definitely support a superstar roster or a 4 protect 1 where Cyclone Spin is the guy that drives it home. A number of people put up the nail and ready the hammer, but he's essentially the one that brings it home.
Yeah, I was talking to Jigs, who's actually here for this event here, along with Ionic and Dagars, and Jigs made a great point of the team comp that AFK drafted was designed to create space around Cyclone Spin. Odin can lock out Xbalanque, can lock out Isis, can protect Cyclone Spin for a couple seconds. Additionally, the new WA pick, who was more of a comfort pick, I think, for Kiki when Poseidon and Agni were available. The thing is, she can drop her minions onto Cyclone Spin, and anyone who walks next to that is going to get stunned out.
Also providing the vision for everybody to make sure that are you actually safe? Well, I can see the entire map, Cyclone, you actually are safe. So a number of things going into that composition to really protect the Kuang as things go on. And that's one of the cooler things, as you said. Cyclone Spin, or rather the character, Kuang, also deserves some praise. This is a hyper carry god. He can get into a lot of trouble, but when he doesn't, when he only has 1 death in a 49-minute game, that's exactly what you see. 14 kills on the side of the assassin. So very, very strong stuff.
You know, something I was more interested in was picks and bans. They actually actually, AFK ended up drafting Kuang first. We're always seeing that come out in last pick. And even Jigs and Gars were saying, this is going to Cyclone Spin. It's technically a flex pick, but that's not Weekend's style of play. He plays the Odins. He plays the Thors. Someone who's going to set up and protect Cyclone and Kiki during the whole game.
It's all about protecting the team in general. As you said, Kiki, also a big part of the protection, tends to be a little bit more supportive, and that's what we saw. So the first game wound up being ridden on the back of Cyclone Spin, the composition proving it as well. We'll see if picks and bans are going to be the same way. Bart, bring us to the P's and B's.
Jeff Hinla.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the desk, where only one of us can hear me, and it's me, which is how it always should be. I'm my biggest fan.
Actually, that would be fantastic.
Wouldn't that be great
if I could just never hear you?
hi-rez, Martin, Yannick, and DM Brandon here on the desk for you guys. We move into game number 2 of 2 in AFK versus Cloud9 G2a. And game 1 was, I'll say AFK, but I mean Cyclo Spin's game.
It was awesome, like front to back.
To the max?
It was a great game. Wait, what?
Was it awesome to the max?
Yeah,
Maximum awesome?
I got you. I got you.
Gotcha,
Cloud9 came out strong in the start. They looked great, you know, up until the Gold Fury steal started happening, and that's what Incon does. And then Cyclone does what Cyclone does, and he just run around and get pentakills because
everybody did what everybody does there. I think they all just played well.
They did. All 10 players played extremely well. In fact, if anything, Weekend had a very bad early game and somehow made up for it. Again, he plays Odin and Thanatos, doesn't invade, doesn't do anything early game, and then late game does things with them. Doesn't make any sense.
You saw him ring so many times and get picks that didn't convert into kills.
Right. But
that was like the story of the mid-game.
It wound up working out so well because Cloud9 got baited by it really hard. They're like, Bear's in trouble. Let's all use our abilities. And they're like, all right, well, Bear is safe. He's running away. Let's go kill Isis.
Odin ult's also on a shorter cooldown than
everything
else.
Below
so
ultimate.
You're pretty much able to just use the Odin ult freely and get them to use their stuff to try and save their teammates and then re-engage later on.